time they did it, they had brought in the Korlo brought in a shoichet into the, and they brought in a goat and
oh yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, good morning everyone. Zakta Gemara, Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, Mikol Malkom Kashya. We have a Kashya. That means if you remember yesterday we're dealing with Zeiri. And we asked a question on Zeiri and then we answered the question. But we still have the original question. We asked a question, we had another side point called Ma'ake B'Shchita, and then we ended up saying, fine, now we're back to Zeiri. So the question with Zeiri was, Mikol Malkom Kashya, that if he says that once the neck is broken and most of the flesh is already gone, so then how could you ever do Malika? Anytime you start the process of Malika, you're breaking the flesh, you're breaking the bone, and now Lamaisa, you're doing Malika. When you get to severing the pipes, you're severing the pipes on a dead animal. Amarava ema v'chenu, so how do you do it? Chotech shidra umafrekes, below rov basar. So what you do is you cut the spinal cord, you cut the neck bone, but you don't cut rov of the basar, most of the flesh. How do you do it, Lamaisa? So the way you do it is you would go and you would push your fingernail through the back of the bird's neck. You don't sever the greater part of the flesh while you're doing that. You press until one pipe, or two pipes in the case of the bird ola, is mostly or completely cut. Then you're able to cut the greater part of the flesh at the end, and therefore, Lamaisa, again, since you need the neck and the greater part to be considered dead, if you just do the neck and the spinal cord in the beginning, and then you break the pipes, and then you do the flesh, then it was not dead at the time of the Malika, and therefore, Lamaisa, Shalom HaYisrael. Kisolik Rabbi Zera. So we're going to see that Rabbi Zera, not Zeiri. Rabbi Zera is going to say the same thing. When Rabbi Zera went up to Eretz Yisrael, Ashkel Rabbi Ami Dias v'Karmel al Hashmai. So Amar Le v'Chimei Omeid Umolek Eshtomem Kishachad. Rabbi Ami was confused. Amar Le, he said to him, Ema Kachos Echotech Shidra Mafrekas below Rav Basar. Again, this is just Rabbi Zera saying the same thing as Zeiri. Tani Namiach. We also have a brayso. Ketzad Molkin Chatas Haof Chotech Shidra Mafrekas below Rav Basar. Achmagia Leveshet Olakana. So again, this is exactly what we just said. Now what do? You cut the shedra, the spinal cord and the neck bone, but you don't cut rov of the basar. You cut the trachea or the esophagus. Again, if you are doing a regular oath, you do one, or at least rov of one. And then you do, again, or together with that, right after you do the simanim, you cut the rov of the basar. By an ola, where you have to cut both of the pipes, so the Gemara says you cut both of the pipes or rov of the pipes. So the Gemara is going to ask now, what does this last line mean? Uva ola shnayim or rov shnayim. What does that mean? It's either the whole thing or a rov. What do you mean? You have to cut the whole thing and rov. Or rov. Says the Gemara, money, who is this? I Rabbanan ha'amrei shnayim dafka. If it's the Rabbanan, if you remember, they said, everybody agrees again, by an ola's oath, you have to cut two. The question is, do you have to cut the whole thing or just rov of the thing? So Rabbanan say the whole thing. So that would be shnayim. It should have said uva ola shnayim. Says the Gemara, I understand. So why did it say rov shnayim? Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon ha'amar rov shnayim. He says rov shnayim. So again, regardless, he dafka Rabbi Elazar says not only are you supposed to cut rov of the two, you're not allowed to cut the entire two. So now you have this end of this brisa, which says, again, it solved our problem. So we already solved Zeiri's problem that what? How do you do malik on a dead bird? You're not doing malik on a dead bird. You're cutting the neck, the spinal cord, then you're severing the pipes. You're making it dead when you sever the pipes, even one or two, depending on if it's a chatas or an ola. Then you cut the rov of the flesh. Zeiri just said that it's dead once you cut the neck and the rov of the flesh. You're not doing the rov of the flesh till the end, therefore you're good to go. But again, the end of that brisa said that by an ola, you do shnayim or rov shnayim. Well, it can't be both. If it's shnayim, the entire thing, that's Rabbanan. If it's rov shnayim, that's Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon. So which one is it? Says the Gemara, ema shnayim l'Rabbanan, rov shnayim l'Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon. The Gemara's not going to like this, because usually the brisa doesn't give you choices. Either do shnayim if you hold like Rabbanan, or do rov shnayim if you hold like Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon. Says the Gemara, v'i ba'yisema, or havaha Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon. You're reading it wrong. It doesn't mean shnayim o rov shnayim, even though it says shnayim o rov shnayim. That's not what it means. It means umay shnayim shedomin l'shnayim. You need to cut the two of them that looks like you cut the two. Well, how does it look like you cut the two? If you cut the majority, it looks like you cut two. Therefore, it's going like Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon. Okay, so again, we solve Zeiri, and that's the way you do Malika.
Not one, right?
Both of them have to be rov.
So you don't have to do one complete and one...
No. By an olas oaf, whatever you do, you do. That means whatever you're going to do, whether you're going to do one for a chatas, has to be rov. If you're going to do two for an ola, it's got to be rov of two. Rov of both. According to Rabbanan, it's got to be completely severed.
You said with an animal, with shchita, it's one whole and the second one rov?
No, we didn't say that. We said 2 rows.
By an animal.
Well, it depends. Again, yeah. Seemingly 2 rows.
Like an old leather bird, same thing.
Right, but again, according to Rabbanan, you have to sever the complete. You have to completely sever them.
Well, we say that by an old leather bird
If
too.
he says you can't sever it completely, it can't be one complete and one not. Row.
No, right. That's right, correct. Says the Gemara, Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Now we're going to talk about people. Exciting. Nishbara mafrekas v'rov basrima. If a person's neck bone is broken with rove of the flesh, or just like by an animal, we're saying the neck bone with rove of the flesh is going to be dead. So too by a person, mitame bo'el. If the neck bone and rove of the flesh is severed, that's going to be mitame bo'el, which means again either if somebody's hovering above it, if the body's hovering above somebody else, or if you're in the same room as somebody or in the same house, it's going to be mitame bo'el. V'im tomar osa ma'isa de Eli mafrekas below rabasar of have. The problem is that there was a story with Eli where Eli found out that the
Fell off the chair, right?
Aron Kodesh had been captured. He fell off his chair and he broke his neck bone, and he died. But it just said Vatishaver mafrakto vayamos that he was dead instantly, even though only the neck bone broke and not rove of his flesh. So you see that even without rove of the flesh, if you just break the neck bone, we consider you to be dead. Says the Gemara, unfortunately, zikna shani. When you're old, you're right. It's different. So again, in general, for a regular person, because you have to remember, we're talking about a person who, obviously, if they're broken neck and most of their flesh is broken, so we're saying even if they're moving around, we're considering them to be halachically dead. But by an older person, once they break their neck, even if the rove of the flesh is not broken, we consider them to be halachically dead as well.
Wasn't it a punishment?
Again, it's not discussing the reason. It's just saying whether he was dead or not. Amar b'Shmuel bar Nachmeni. Amar b'Yochanan. Kro kedag. Okay. If you tear a person along their entire length and you open them up like a dog, like you're taking out the innards of a fish, mitame ba'oel. You have bigger problems, but mitame ba'oel. He contaminates through roof association. It's going to be mitame ba'oel. Interesting. Okay.
Does that mean as soon as you've done that?
Sounds like as soon as you do that before he dies.
Before he dies.
That's what we're talking about. Right, because it's obvious afterwards.
Yeah.
Once the person is dead, he's dead. But if you cut them open, so you better.
As good as
Do
dead.
that all the time
Right.
now.
I was going to say, once you cut them open, you should run out of the room right away, just in case
but
you don't
surgery,
become
they
tummy.
do that all the time.
Yeah, they do that all the time, right? It's crazy. Well, today they don't really cut along the entire length. They do like a tiny little, maybe.
Abdominal artery thing.
But I don't know if you would say that they're matame in that case.
I know. That's
Omer Shmuel Bar
that's
Yitzchak,
what I'm
right.
saying, yeah.
So this part I didn't understand. Umi Gabo. I'm not sure why the cut had to be from his back. It sounds like if you slice the guy up from the front, so then it's he's not going to be matame. Shmuel Bar Yitzchak said only from the back. I don't understand. Okay, Omer Shmuel. Asa Gistra, if you split an animal into two, not necessarily lengthwise, but even widthwise, nevela. That means you split it into two widthwise, you sever its neck, you cut in the back, it's going to be a nevela. Says the Gemara, Amar Belazar, Nital hayarech v'chalal shalah. If you remove the thigh with its cavity and its nicker, nevela, then it's a nevela. Hechida michalal shalah, nicker. What's the case? Amar Rava kol sheravutza v'niras chatzera. That means that when an animal is bending down and you can't see its legs, so you see that that there's a cavity over there.
This has to be an animal that's going to bleed to death.
So it's interesting. It sounds like the entire limb is removed.
Because you have animals that have missing limbs, like.
Correct. So it must be that it's right. It must be that it's about to bleed to death, or that it's about to die, or else right. Because if not, then it would be a treifa. But it's about to bleed to death, and even though it appears to be alive, we're still saying that it's halachically dead.
There's no skin or flesh covering the wound, so
Right.
it's going to bleed to death.
Right. It's not hasam. Hudzu roshen. So now again, by an animal, we said neck and rove of the flesh, we consider to be halachically dead. By a person, depends. If they're a zakein, then just neck. If they're a regular person, rove, the neck and rove of the basar is considered to be dead. Now we have a third category of sheriffs, one of the 8 creepy, crawly creatures. So those, even if they're broken neck, I guess because they're so small and flexible, even if they have a broken neck and rove of the basar is gone, they're still not considered to be dead until one of the pipes is severed. Says in Gemara, Hudzu Roshen, and that's what we're going to say, that when the head is cut off, that means that one of the pipes is severed, or both of the pipes. Let's see, Av Bishem Befar Kisin, even though they're moving around, Tmein, they're Tame, Kiznavat Halta Shem Mifar Keset. Just like when you kill a lizard. So if you cut off the head, it still runs around a little bit.
No, you cut off the tail. The tail still moves. You cut off a lizard's tail. The lizard doesn't necessarily die, but the tail...
Okay, I was saying the opposite. If you cut off the head, it'll still move. Or if you cut off the body, then the tail will still move. Cutting off the tail and cutting off the body is the same thing. You're just splitting it.
It's not, though.
What do you mean?
The word is kiznav, like the tail.
Kiznav al tashim, right. I'm saying the tail will move when you separate it from the body.
Right.
Yeah.
However you separate it, whether you cut off the tail, you cut off the body, whatever it is. However you do it. Says the Gemara, my hutzu. So what does this hutzu mean? Reish Lakish amar hutzu mamish. Rabbi Yasi amar Rabbi Mani kavdalas olas off. So the question is again, we said neck and these are strong creatures. Neck and most of the flesh is not enough to say it's dead. You need to sever the pipes. Question, what does that mean, sever pipes? So we said there's a machlokes. Rabbanan say severing pipes means what? Completely. The other opinion, right, said that it's rove. So Rabbi Asi Amar Rabbi Mani says kavdalas olas off. The way you separate by an olas off. Well, that doesn't help us because by an olas off there's a machlokes. So Reish Lakish says you got to sever it completely. Rabbi Asi says whatever you do by an olas off. Well, that doesn't help me because by an olas off, Rabbanan say you sever it completely, and right. So if he's holding like the Rabbanan, then he's saying the same thing as Reish Lakish. Hutzu mamish. Amar le Rabbi Yirmiyah Rabbi Asi kavdalas olas off le Rabbanan velo palkitu. Right, if you say Havdalah Sa'of like the Rabbanan, which is completely severed, that's exactly what Reish Lakish said, Hudzu Mamish, you completely sever it. O Dilma Kavdalah Ola Sa'of la Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, which is Rov, Vupagidu, and therefore it ends up you're saying that the animal, this creepy crawly creature, just needs to have Rov of the pipe cut, and according to Reish Lakish, it's still not dead until all of the pipe is cut. Says the Gemara, Amar Le Kavdalah Ola Sa'of la Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, Upaginan. I argue with the Rabbanan, and again,
Rove.
as long as rove of the pipe. So it's fascinating. According to Rabbanan, you have a little creepy crawly creature. Its neck is broken. Rove of the flesh is removed. Rove of the pipe is removed, and that guy's still going. Yeah. Halakhically, he's still alive. He says, no, according to Rabbi Yasi, no, once you separate rove of the pipe, it's gone. Says the Gemara, this is the same thing. Ikad Amrei, it's just that they didn't ask him. He just said it straight out. Shimon ben Lakish Amar Hutzu Mamish, Rabbi Yossi Amar Rabbi Mani, Kavdalas also Ofla Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Shimon, Berov Shnayim. That means through most of the pipes. And again, this way, Lamaisa, it means that the pipes are severed. Okay? So again, the human being would be the one that would be considered to be dead the earliest. Human being Zakain. And then an animal would have to have neck and rove of the flesh removed, and then a sheretz would have to have neck and rove of the flesh and their pipes either completely severed or rove severed.
With a person, what we're saying is that even before they're dead?
Right. They're mitame oel even before they're dead.
So now
again, I don't know what that means in Mitzios. That means that the neck and rove of the flesh is severed. I mean, that's a very specific case. But then we gave other cases where if you cut a person open and they're about to die, so...
The example given, the exception to the rule of Zakain, he fell off and he just broke his neck.
Right, and it sounds like he's considered to be dead.
Even if he's not.
Right. And it's also interesting, again, I'm not saying this is the source, but halacha l'maisa, we do have discussions by a goses, where a goses is considered to be dead for certain purposes. And, Kohanim don't necessarily go into a room with a goses, etc. So it's interesting. It's not exactly, we're not defining goses necessarily based on this, but l'maisa, it does play out halacha l'maisa that a person who's not dead is considered to be dead. We have that by a goses as well.
So what about a paraplegic?
Right. So we have discussions. Well, paraplegic is probably a little bit different. This is talking about somebody that's clearly going to die very soon. Interesting.
So this has nothing to do with life support and stuff like that, right?
I'm saying halacha l'maisa, this specific Gemara, but it plays out on life support. It plays out on goses. It plays out with all these things. Says the Gemara. We had this machlokes between Rabbi Lazar, we said, and the Chachamim, that again, by an olas ha'of, when you have to sever, so do you have to sever completely both, or do you have to do it rove? So we haven't actually seen the dispute brought down in the Brayso. So this is the Brayso that brings down the dispute. My Rabbanan and my Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Shimon. Titania ve'es hasheni yaseh ola kamishpat. Again, we always want to get some of the interesting kolam. So we know that in general, if you have to bring a korban olav yored, which is a type of chatos, so depending on how rich you are, that's a depend. So if you have this resources, then you have to bring an animal. If you don't have the resources, what do you bring? 2 birds. If you really don't have the resources, then what do you do all of Mesechus Menachos? You bring the flour. Says the Gemara, ve'es hasheni yaseh ola kamishpat. So this second korban of olav yored, if you're a little bit poorer and you're not bringing an animal and you're bringing 2 birds, so one you make a chatas, the second one you make an ola kamishpat. Kamishpat of what? Kamishpat of the chatas or kamishpat of something else? That's what they're going to arguing about. Says the Gemara, what's kamishpat? Kimishpat chatas behema. You're going to treat this olas of like a chatas behema. Okay, well, it makes sense why you would do that according to this opinion. Why? Because what is this olas of coming in place of? It's coming in place of a chatas behema. Rich person bringing the chatas behema. You can't afford it, you bring a chatas of and an olas of. So this olas of is really in place of a chatas behema, and therefore we're going to have a hekesh between a bird ola and a chatas behema. Let's see how this plays out with how much you have to sever. Ata omer kamishpat chatas behema oeino ela kamishpat chatas haof. Are you going to compare it to a chatas behema like a chatas of? What's the nafkamina? Well, we said that a chatas oaf, we know what? A chatas oaf, Dafka says, velo yavdil. You can't separate its head from its body. That means that the malika can only separate one of the pipes. So if you're going to make an analogy, which we're clearly not going to do, because everybody says you got to separate both of the pipes, the question is how much, all or oaf. But if you would make the analogy between a chatas oaf and an olas oaf, you wouldn't be able to sever more than one of the things. So we clearly don't make that analogy. What do we do? Kishehu omer v'hikrivo. When it says that you bring it, the bird ola, that means even though the chatas oaf and the olas oaf are listed next to each other in the pasuk, when it says v'hikrivo, it's saying that you don't necessarily make the connection hekesh between the two of them. Mani mekayim kamishpat, kimishpat chatas behema. So again, it comes out that when it says kimishpat, the mishpat of the olas oaf will not be like the chatas oaf. It'll be like the chatas behema. If it was like the chatas oaf, you wouldn't be able to sever more than one. It's like the chatas behema where you sever two. The question is, how far do you go? Ma chatas behema. Well, first we're going to make a connection now between the olas oaf and chatas behema for other things. Forget about the severing of the pipes. We're making a hekesh now kamishpat that we treat the olas oaf like the chatas behema. This is again important. Klalim. What do we have some rules by the chatas behema? Ela min chulin. It can only come from chulin. What does that mean? You can't take money that you use to redeem meiser sheni and use it to buy a chatas. If you can't use money that you use to redeem meiser sheni, right? You have the fruits, you want to redeem meiser sheni with it, you take the money, you bring it to Yerushalayim, you can't buy a chatas ha'of with that. So the coins that were used to redeem meiser sheni, you can't buy a chatas behema, and therefore you can't buy an olas oaf either. Uvayom, just like a chatas behema, ki bayom hazeh yichaper aleichem has to be offered during the day, and olas oaf needs to be offered during the day as well. Uvayado hayimanis, just like a chatas behema is done with the right hand of a kohen, so too when you sprinkle the blood of the olas oaf, it's got to be done with the right hand as well. Af olas oaf ein haba ela min hachulin, uvayom uvayado hayimanis. However, if you're going to make the connection totally, so what's going to happen now? The Gemara is sort of like in this spot where it's stuck. Because what? We're saying that we need to compare olas oaf either to what? Either to chatas behema or to chatas oaf. So we chose to do it to chatas behema, and therefore we can learn the other things that are by chatas behema. It has to be with the right hand, by yom. You can't use money that was used to be put in meiser sheni. The problem is what happens now? If you compare it to chatas oaf, then you can only sever one of the pipes, like a chatas oaf. But if you compare it to chatas behema, you sever both, but you only do rov. Now this is the Rabbanan talking. Well, no. So rov would be fine completely. That's what the other opinion is going to hold. Okay. But this is the Rabbanan talking, who are saying what? Who are saying you need to sever the entire thing. V'hivdilo. So how are they going to get that though? So now they're stuck. Imala halan berov shnayim. So there's going to be an exception, even though we're comparing it to a chatas behema. You might think that just like in the chatas behema, rov of shnayim is fine, which everybody says. Afkan berov shnayim. There's a separate passage that kimishpat. You could connect it to a chatas behema, but not the whole way. Talmud lomar umalak v'hiktir. It specifically says by the ola bird that what? You should do the malika the way you burn it. How do you burn an ola bird? You burn the head separately and the body separately. So just like you burn the head totally separate from the body, you need to do the malika, which is in the pasuk umalak v'hiktir. You need to do the malika totally separate from the body. How do you do the malika totally separate from the body? Not enough to do rov, like by a behema chatas. You need to totally sever it so that it's totally separate. So it's a separate limud. Even though you're comparing it to a chatas behema in general, there's a separate limud that by malika you need to do even more than a chatas behema. That doing rov of the two pipes is not going to be enough. You have to actually separate it the entire way. Mahak taras harosh be'atzmo v'haguf be'atzmo, af malika harosh be'atzmo v'haguf be'atzmo. So to the malika of the rosh has to be by itself and the guf by itself. This is the Rabbanan that we said until now, that by an ola oaf, you have to go ahead, by a bird ola, you have to completely sever both pipes. Now we have Rabbi Yishmael, who agrees with the Rabbanan, This is Rabbi Yishmael, who agrees with the Rabbanan. You have to completely sever them, but he gives a different source, and then we'll have the third opinion, which is going to say Rov. Rabbi Yishmael Omer Kimishpat Chatas Ha'of. He says Kimishpat is not like the Chatas Behemah, it's like the Chatas Ha'of. That what? Ma Chatas Ha'of Mimul Oref Av Olas Ha'of Mimul Oref. He says it has to be even simpler. Back up a second. If you don't make the comparison to Chatas Ha'of, you don't even know that the malika of an olas of, which it doesn't tell you in the Torah where to do, you don't even know where to do it. So you need kimishpat, first of all, to compare a bird ola to a chatas bird, because at the end of the day you have to know, just like a chatas bird, it says mimul arpo in the back of the nape, in the nape. So too, by a bird ola, you got to do it in the nape as well. But if you think that what? You're going to go straight and you're going to compare it totally to the bird chatas. Moleg ve'eno mavdil b'siman echad. You only do one siman, right? You can't cut the second pipe. Avkan moleg ve'eno mavdil b'siman echad. Tamalomar uses a different thing. V'hik rivo, that it needs to be separate. The bird olo is separate, and that the prohibition against separating the second pipe is only by the bird chatas, not by the bird ola. So again, he comes out the same as the Rabbanan, that you cut both and you sever the entire thing. So we have both opinions, it's just two different sources, but Lamaisa comes out that by the bird ola, you cut both and you separate them the entire way. What's the third opinion that we saw, or the second opinion that we saw? Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Kimishpat. He says no, Kimishpat chatas of. So again, both of the second and third opinion are not comparing Kimishpat, right? The first Kimishpat, the first opinion was that Kimishpat, the olas of is like the animal chatas. Here Kimishpat is that the olas of is like the chatas bird. But we're not going all the way, according to the second opinion. We're comparing it in certain senses to know that we need to do malika on the nape, but we don't go all the way. Therefore, we still say that you sever the entire pipes. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon is taking it even one step further. You compare it to chatas ha'of, and not only that, malahalan, just like by the chatas ha'of, oches berosh uvaguf uvamazeh. When you take a chatas ha'of, the chatas, what do? The blood is sprayed when the head and the body are still somewhat connected, because you're only severing one pipe. Afkan oches berosh uvaguf uvamazeh. So to over here, what? You go ahead and you have to have the guf and the body together, which is how do you do that? By not severing the whole thing. So now the Gemara is going to ask, well, how do you know then that you need to even sever two? Maybe you only sever one to make sure that the head and the body are connected. Says the Gemara, my kamar, hachi kamar, malahalan kishu achos arosh beguf mazeh, afkan kishu achos arosh beguf mazeh. Again, there must be some connection between the bird's head and the body, just like by the chatas of kamishpat, just like by the chatas of, there's a connection. What's the connection by the chatas of? One of the two pipes is still there. So to over here, there needs to be a connection. How? Through rov. Well, how are you making that distinction? Why don't you say just like over there, one is also over here, one. So it says Rosh Hashanah, according to my limud, I know you're asking this question in DAF YOMI, so Lamaisa, what's the story? It should be what? That if you have to make it exactly like the chatas of, that you need the behemoths, that you need the bird's body to be connected to the head, you should have to have a whole pipe still connected. Says the Gemara, Talmud Lomar, the same v'hikrivo that he uses, that the other mandamar uses, but he uses it for something else. Talmud Lomar v'hikrivo, that what? That even though they're comparable in certain senses, they're not comparable in other senses. It's similar to the talmud-bavli, to Rabbanan a little bit. Even though the chatas behema and the olas of are comparable in certain senses, like the Rabbanan said, they're also dissimilar in certain senses. So too, the chatas of and the olas of are going to be similar in certain senses, that the body has to be together, but dissimilar in certain senses, that it's not together with one pipe, but it's actually together because, again, it's two pipes, but they're not completely severed. So that's how it comes out again. So you have the Rabbanan who say that it's like an animal chatas, but not totally like an animal chatas. It's got some of the things, but unlike an animal chatas, which is rov of the two simanim are cut, this has to have the entire two simanim cut. And then again, the second opinion, really the third opinion, which is the second opinion, is that it's not like an animal chatas, it's like a bird chatas, and therefore what? The body and the head need to be somewhat connected, but unlike a bird chatas, where they're connected through an entire pipe, this one is connected because both of them are cut, but they're not cut totally. They're cut rove, but there's still some connection between the head and the body, and therefore when you sprinkle it, you could say that it's still somewhat connected, similar to a chatasof. Okay.